Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Kath Bolitho, and I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on Jara country. Well, that's where I am right now. There may be some other countries here, but I like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. In the room here today, we have many applicants or interested nominees, which is very exciting. With almost 100 registrations for this workshop, we're really excited to see how many of you have taken an interest this year. I also have here Hayley Tibbett, CEO of Be.Bendigo, Mel Buchanan, who is our head judge this year, and also Stef from Ligantic, who is our whiz on making sure that all of your forms and applicant processes are automated and safe and easy for you to use. So we're going to work through some different parts of the application process today so that you can understand how it all works and what you need to do, what your deadlines are, what the judges are looking for, and the work that's been done to make sure that this process is not a difficult and overwhelming task, but hopefully something that you find valuable and enjoyable. First off, Hayley, I'd love to you to speak to everybody and just have a bit of a chat about what this year's program looks like.
Good morning, everyone. And first of all, for those of you who weren't able to make it on Tuesday to our nomination event, congratulations. It's so awesome to have so many of you. Record number of nominations this year at 851, which is just amazing and shows how much the people who go to your businesses and actually interact with you appreciate what you do. And the fact that so many of you are taking that first step to actually come along and join us today, it's terrific. We're just going to briefly walk through the program today. This year, we've got 20 different categories as well as Business of the Year. In that are 16 business categories, 3 individual categories. So there'll be some of you that will apply for individuals, but you're more than welcome to do both with those. In the individual categories, we've got Leader of the Year. So that's open to anybody over 35, Regional Businesswoman of the Year, and a Young Professional Award. We've also got one universal category, which is a Climate Leader. It's a little bit different to the others. It's not a separate category in that a separate application, but there is an optional extra built into that. So we really encourage anybody to actually fill those last few questions out. It's really interesting how that's evolved over the years and a terrific one to have in each year. So we've got the Climate Collaboration Group as sponsor for that category, and they really appreciate everything everybody's done over the years to bring their businesses forward. One of the things that's really exciting is how the program has evolved over the years. We've introduced some new categories this year. So there's some first timers in there in an education and training category, employer of choice category, hospitality, tourism and experience, micro and home-based businesses, the return of retail, which I'm so thrilled about, and also a new Trade Business Award. So that's open to all trade businesses, whether you're a hairdresser or an electrician. It's open to anybody that considers themselves a trade. Hospitality, tourism and experience category has expanded this year. We do have the City of Greater Bendigo Loddon Shire Destination Greater Bendigo Loddon sponsoring it. So it will encompass businesses sitting in that Loddon Shire area as well. It's great to see Loddon included in this section. So we really encourage those businesses in those outer areas to consider applying again. It's important to note on that though, if you are a business in Loddon and you do win, they will not be eligible for our Business of the Year. Unfortunately, that is limited to businesses within the City of Greater Bendigo. So what today's really about is helping you understand how to put your best foot forward and produce your strongest application. One of the key things to remember is it's not always about the biggest business or the most well-known business. And that's been some of the exciting stuff over the years, actually seeing so many businesses who we don't even know of that apply and are great at what they do, a little bit unknown, and it just opens them up to a whole new world of people who find out about them and what they're actually doing for our community. Today's about giving you the tools and the confidence to do the application. So glad we can be here for you and take everything you can from today, and let's get on with it. Thank you.
Thanks, Hayley. So there will be an opportunity to ask questions if you have questions as the session goes on. If you could please pop them in the chat, that'd be great, rather than raising your hand, purely because we have so many people here, I may not be able to see you. So pop your questions in the chat as we go, and we'll make some time to get through a couple of them later. But the next person that I would like to introduce to speak is Melissa Buchanan, our head judge this year. Mel, handing over to you.
Thanks, Kath. Thanks everyone for having me. I do want to thank everyone again. I know it's been said, but thanks for giving up your time to be here with us today. For those that came on Tuesday, same. This is such an important time, the time of commencing applications. So we really value you being here. As a head judge and all the judges, we're extremely grateful to the organisers and also to Stef and her team at Ligantic this year for upgrading once again the application process. So I just want to reiterate that out loud. And to you as applicants, what we're really hoping is that this application process will make this feel now for you as seamless as possible when you're entering. And I know if you were at the launch, you would have heard from one of our last year's winners that the process was lengthy, it was cumbersome, and I certainly hope that you feel that a little bit more seamless this year. And we too, as judges, hope the same. As a judge, there's just simply at this point probably no better advice that I can give to you all than to take your preparation seriously. And that should utterly centre, in my view, around some time management at the outset. So make sure you know all the filing deadlines, set aside some really productive time in your day where your brain's at peak so you can prepare your applications and your responses. Not that I'll go into real detail, but we as judges are basing our judging application process on a key scoring matrix. And it's important for you to know that that's from a 1 to 10, of course, with that sort of 1 to 2 range being that someone hasn't completed an answer or a response doesn't have any relevance, through to 10, where you as an applicant would have been considered to have fully addressed criterion and given us really comprehensive evidence and insights. It'll be talked about more later, but you've got a word count this year. This is designed to ensure that you as applicants make those words count that you're sending through to us. I asked you to carefully consider what's the question being asked of you. We want direct, we want well-written, evidence-based responses to questions. And these types of answers to questions will enable you as applicants to move higher up that scoring matrix. Please think about testimonials. Please think about examples for specific questions. And from a general feedback perspective, evidence is really, really good. Any use of generic information is not really going to attract what you would envisage on that high key matrix. So try and be specific when you're answering your questions. A couple of keynotes, the use of, first and foremost, the use of AI and ChatGPT is permissible, but we ask that you consider from the judge's perspective how that might result from a scoring perspective. Personalisation here is key, and if we're reading really produced AI responses to an answer, as judges, we're just not invested, and it's likely not to be relevant to your business. So please don't fall into the trap of using that without some overlay. It's important that this is a really personalised process. Read the question, plan your answer within the word count, make it specific to your core business, and relate that to us as judges with examples and with evidence, and you'll be on the right path. When entering written applications this year, you're able as a business to enter into up to 4 categories. You will only be able to become a finalist in 2 categories this year. So that's important to know. We've also spent some time before the application process commenced re-updating our core questions. These have had a full rewrite, and we hope that those of you who have competed in previous years can see that that question style is now far more direct, and we're hoping that will result from an applicant perspective with more direct and more concise and more evidence-based powerful responses. Much has changed this year about the face-to-face process too, if you are to go there. And it's really important that we reiterate the reason for that is because we'd like this face-to-face process to be as fair as possible across the board. So this year, interviews must be done in person. If you can't, then you'll need to send a representative. We are not going to allow PowerPoint presentations this year, which has happened in the past. And the sole as a business in that face-to-face. Each finalist will be asked in advance to provide what is a 2-minute intro to us as judges in the room, explaining why it is that you represent excellence specific to that category. So you'll get an opportunity to prepare that 2-minute. And you will each then be provided with 3 key category questions in advance of the in-person interview for you to prepare. If there's time, I certainly, as judges, I hope all the others will have thought about some extra questions that are really relevant based upon your written application. So be prepared to answer those questions. And at in every category, judges are deliberating, but I also want you to consider that they're deliberating, on business of the year potentials as well. From the perspective of tips here, we're of course looking for a high-end presentation, but more than that, us as judges want to see some correlation between what we read and what we see in your written application and your face-to-face. Synergy is really important, but sometimes we're also really surprised by the face-to-face in hearing what we haven't read. So I encourage you to take the opportunity to give even more in this space, to show this as, your real passion piece, just to go over and beyond what the question in a written version might have allowed for you. I know this is easier said than done, but try and shake off your nerves in this space as well. Treat it as a conversation, prepare end to end, practice with your colleagues, and of course prepare, but rereading your own application and coming in just really personal about the experience is going to be really powerful to us as judges. I think it's just important that I cap off with just letting you know about the judging perspective. So it's good for you to know that we as judges are assigned categories. Each category has 3 judges that are submitting individual scoring for your written applications. The assignment to categories is based largely upon the judge's area of skill, their expertise and the interests. And really, this is all aimed to try and make sure we are getting the right people in the judging roles to judge the right categories that you've entered in. Those judges, all of us, are the subject to privacy, conflicts and declaration of interest disclosures. Kath might like to speak to this a little bit more than me, but in short, what you need to know as applicants is your information is kept entirely confidential. And of course, the process of who scored well, highly or otherwise is included within that confidentiality component. If a person is conflicted or has an interest to declare, we as a judging group are trying to ensure that those interests and conflicts are declared so that this whole process can be as impartial in nature as it possibly can. I think that's it from me. Of course, later I'm happy to answer any questions or in the chat. Kath, have I forgotten anything there?
No, but I'm not sure what happened to everybody else, but when you were just quickly talking about the PowerPoint presentations and why we're not doing that, did just cut out for me for a moment. So just in case it did for anybody else, it'd be great if you just reiterated that again.
Yeah, if it did, sorry about that. This year, I was speaking in the context of what will be allowed during the face-to-faces. And in previous years, there has been an option for you to be afforded PowerPoint presentation. This year, you will not have that opportunity. There will be no PowerPoint or screen style presentations permitted. And what I had said was our thought process around this is we really want to see you and your representatives as their most authentic selves during that face-to-face.
Thanks, Mel. That's terrific. And remember, if you do have a question around the judging process, pop it in the chat and hopefully we can get to it at the end of our speaking today. The next person that I would love to talk a little bit more is Stef Kohler from Ligantic, just to talk through about the forms, the process, and what you can expect online while you're submitting your application.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kath. And congratulations to everyone on the call who has been nominated. It's always such a pleasure to be a part of these awards because of the excellence that is coming out of our region in the business community. So congratulations to everyone. Now, Mel, I am going to use a little bit of a presentation, but it's not PowerPoint. It's just to show a little bit behind the scenes for what you can expect as you go through that application process. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, technology working whenever we're going into sharing there. Hopefully you're able to see as you go through and follow the links that the BBEA team have shared with you around completing that application, you'll be landing on your welcome page. This is where you can log in using that email address that you've been notified of your nomination on to log in there. Following that, you'll receive a unique link or a magic link that'll take you through to your applicant portal. This is where you can drive your entire application from. And as Mel, Kath, and Hayley have mentioned, you can have those multiple applications across up to those 4 categories. In the application portal, you'll have access to the awards timeline. So you can see what stage we're up to and you can plan out all of the forward coming events. You'll also, after the process, when we get to the final feedback stage, be able to log back in and see the feedback that the judges have so conscientiously provided throughout this process. But we're looking too far ahead. Let's come back to what you're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. When you land in this portal, it's as simple as going and starting a brand new application. From here, you'll choose between a business or an individual award around where you're applying for, and fill in some basic information about yourself and your business. The information you fill out on this page specifically will help to confirm which of the awards categories that you're eligible for, that you'll be able to select in the subsequent pages. That's really important, specifically around how many years your business has been trading for. Hayley mentioned the emerging and energized category is only eligible for those businesses who have been trading for, I think it's less than 3 years. Is that right, Hayley? So if we go through, there is some validations in here. So please make sure you put in the right information as you're going through, because that'll be how you come back and access all of these. Put some examples in here and I'll show you what that next category selection page is going to look like as you go through. So scrolling down, you can see all of the categories that I would be eligible for with that information. You can add those in. If you accidentally add one in that you're potentially not wanting to complete the application for, it's okay, you can scroll down and remove it. And then when you're ready to go through, you can continue. At any stage of the application process, you can scroll down to the bottom of the page or bottom of the form and save as a draft. That way you'll be brought back to the portal and you can see all of your draft applications. When you complete the application, you'll see it move into a submitted status there. And you're still able to go back in, and just before, if you are successful as a finalist, you can go back in and read the responses so you can acquaint yourself with the details before you go through that process. We've taken a lot of feedback from past applicants and past judges to try and improve and streamline this process for you. We're really interested to make sure that you're not taking any more time out of your businesses to complete these applications, but you're able to do so in a really streamlined fashion. So welcome any questions, feedback, or ways that we can continue to improve this over this process and the coming years. Back to you, Kath.
Thanks, Steph. Just to clarify quickly with that emerging and energised, the criteria on that is that you need to have been trading for at least 1 year, but no more than 3. So moving into what the general information and the mechanics are for the awards now. So what you need to do now is, first step, choose the categories that you are best to enter. So pick what suits your business or is most appropriate to your business. You do not need to enter the categories that someone has suggested that you nominate for. You get to pick the ones that are best for you. Please make sure that you're eligible to enter. You really don't want to start an application on something that is not appropriate for your business. Stef's put in those fail safes there, so make sure you read them and follow along as you go so that you don't end up in the wrong spot. Choose whether you would like to enter the optional category being climate leader. If you can answer those additional questions and you feel that you're doing something really great in that space, please do it, because it doesn't hurt your original application if you don't, but it's really great if you're recognised for something else as you go. Quick scoring on how the application process works is that you need to have reached at least 70% of the total judging score to be considered as a finalist. So you have to have achieved a certain level of excellence to even go on or be considered. From that, we work out who the top finalists scoring, the top businesses that have scored the highest, and we have a maximum of 5. So, for example, if we have a category where many people have amazing businesses and all achieve, or quite a few of them achieve more than 70%, we then will choose and shortlist to the top 5 of those scores. Refer to the terms and conditions on the Be.Bendigo or the BBEA website so that you can make sure that you are following, you understand what you need to do. And then, of course, make sure that you've got your application ready to go. So graphic design is not needed. As Mel touched on, answer those questions streamlined, accurately, and to the point. You'll be asked to supply 5 or up to 5 promotional images when you submit. These images are the ones that we use if you're a finalist to create your intro and promotion of being a finalist. So choose ones that you know represent your business really well and are of the quality that you would like to be shown as. Business of the Year. Business of the Year category, as said, for businesses only, obviously no individuals, no emerging and energised or climate leader winners are eligible for Business of the Year. And also if you do enter multiple categories, you may and is most likely be judged by different judges. So you can obviously be a finalist in up to 2. If you get to that point, and you'll be scheduled then to have your separate interviews in person, which are then appropriate to those categories. If you need a bit of help and support, my team at Lost Cause Events are your help desk. Please give us a yell, whatever you need. If you have any questions, we are here to support you. The team we've done this for a few years now, so we're pretty good at answering most things. And if we can't answer, we'll find out what we can for you. If you are struggling, let us know in advance. If you don't understand a question, you need clarity, whatever it is that you may need, please make contact and see if we can help and get you back on the right direction. And just stay in contact. Don't wait to the last minute. Nobody wants to be doing that mad rush and then you miss all the really good information that you have about what you do and how amazing you are. And of course, don't forget the gala. It's going to be a night of night, a good chance to take your staff out, good chance to go and be recognised and, celebrate what business is in Bendigo. Quick deadlines. They're all on the bbea.com.au website, but they are deadline for your application. So that putting this written submission in online is June 1st. It then goes into the judging period. Finalists will be announced on June 26th. If you're a finalist, then the finalist celebration event is on July 1. So they're your core dates for now. Please make sure that that you have in your diary that July 6th and 7th are our scheduled dates for the in-person interviews. So if you're not going to be in town, find someone who can represent your business just as well as you do, okay? Because it is in person. Now, let's have a look at some of the questions that are coming through, and I'll ask whether it's Hayley, Mel or Stef to jump in as we go to answer these ones here. So we'll just work through a few quickly ones there. So if we apply for the environment section, do we have to answer all 3 questions? So my assumption on that is if you mean the climate award, yes, climate award questions are additional to all of your category questions, if that makes sense in the written application. To clarify even further, If you are shortlisted as a finalist for the climate award section, then when that judging goes off to when that judging goes off to the climate judges, they will then ascertain from that information on who they think is the final. I've covered the one. Best way to reach out if we get a little stuck. The email is bbea@lostcauseevents.com.au. Please make contact, shoot us an email, and thanks, Bri, for popping that in the chat there. It's probably Bri that you'll get to speak to on the other end. Next question about government organisation comprising of many departments. The email address provided in the nomination is specific to a department. Is that what I'm focusing on with the application? That's one for you, Stef.
Yeah, so I've answered a similar one above, but because we've based the Magic Link authentication and underlying access mechanisms on that nominated email, that's what's used as a baseline. There is ways to go through the process of updating that if that's required. So we can go through that process if it's going to an email address that you don't have access to or is not singularly focused on the person who will be completing this application. We can go through that mechanism of updating that email.
Okay, thanks, Steph. Next one there is, how do we know if the categories we got nominated for are individual or business for the application? You should have received an email saying what you've been nominated for. Again, if you've been nominated for a business category, you can choose any business category. If you have been nominated, if you'd like to enter an individual award, you need to have been nominated for that individual award. If you are unsure, please contact us and we'll clarify that for you if you don't have that information or you need to know a little bit more. So just shoot us an email, we'll look it up and make sure that you've got all the information that you need.
Kath, I think probably just one more thing while we wait for any other questions that I feel like I've forgotten to mention in written is that in past years, we've seen a lot of people attempting to use links to external resources, to websites, to platforms. I need you all to hear those links don't work. So please don't reference or use them. You're wasting your word count and we can't click on them. So just to reiterate to those in the room, no point in including those links.
That's great, Mel. Thank you. Again, that comes down to making those words count. So you can't stack your application with extra information by linking it to a document or to a video or anything like that. Not only will they not work, but they're not permitted in that application process anyway. So any other questions? So there's one there from Ella. If I was nominated for one kind of individual award, can I apply for another as well? Hayley is nodding at me. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay, another one. This one's for you, Hayley. May I ask why businesses in Loddon aren't able to win Business of the Year?
Generally, the Excellence Awards are for Bendigo-based businesses within our LGA. We have just extended it to Loddon Shire for that tourism, hospitality and experience this year because Destination Greater Bendigo are sponsoring that award, but the Business of the Year comes back to being in the City of Greater Bendigo area, the LGA. So unfortunately, I'm really sorry about that this year. It is just for that one category.
So just to reiterate what Hayley's saying, if you're a Loddon business, you can only enter the Hospitality, Tourism and Experiences Award. It is the only one that allows any business outside of the Greater Bendigo local government area. There's another question there saying, has the link to the portal been sent out yet? It won't be sent out. It's on the website. So if you hop onto the website, there are direct links there for you to jump on and start your application, have a look around and make yourself familiar there. So please head to that bbea.com.au and start to work out what you're going to apply for and how you're going to make it all work. Looks like we've covered them all for now. And again, if you do have more, please email us. Ask away. We're always here to help. And, if we can help you in any way to make this a really, really valuable experience for you, then everybody involved that's our mission to do so. So have a great morning. We will send this video out and make it available. So if you missed part of it, you joined late, or there's someone in your team you'd like to share it with because they're managing the process for you, you can share that with them. And we can, look forward to a massive night at the gala. Good luck, everybody.